We are now going to see loops in Java. There are three main loops in Java. You have while loop, you have do while loop, and you have for loop. Only difference is in Java they have enhanced your normal for loop so that you have something called as for each for loop, which we shall see. Apart from these loops, there are jump statements which are available in loops in Java. You have break statement, you have continue statement, and you have return statement. Now, whenever we consider loops, loops they have three major parts. You have something called as initialization, then you have condition checking, and you have update statement. Initialization is done only once. Then before entering the loop, the condition checking happens. If the condition is true, the loop is entered, or else not. And once the loop is executed, at the end of that iteration, there is an update of the index made. It is either increment or decrement. But these three parts, they are optional, because you can write loops even without one or more of these parts, which we shall see. Now, starting with the while loop, the syntax for the while loop is while the condition test is true, it is going to execute these statements. And the moment condition test is false, it is not going to execute it anymore. So, it will go into the loop till this condition test becomes false. As an example, suppose I have integer variable I equal to 0. This is initialization. While I is less than 10, that is 0 is less than 10, while this is true, system.out.println I. So, I am printing I, and then I is incremented by 1. So, what will happen? Initially only once I will be 0, then while loop checks is 0 less than 10. So, this is condition check true. So, it goes into the loop and it will print the value of I. Before going for the next iteration, the last thing what I have done is I have updated the index I by 1. So, I is now 1 and it comes back here, and again it checks is 1 less than 10? Yes. So, again you enter the while loop, you print 1 and I is incremented by 1. So, now I becomes 2, and then again it checks is 2 less than 10, and so on. Finally, after so many iterations, finally when I becomes equal to 10, is 10 less than 10? False. So, it will not enter this while loop, and the control will pass to the statement that is just after the while loop, that is the statement over here. So, this is your normal while loop. Now, do while loop is another version. It executes, do means it executes some statements and only then it checks for the condition. For example, int I equal to 5, variable I is set to 5. Now, do, you are going to print the value of I. So, 5 will be printed on computer screen, then I will be incremented by 1. So, 5 becomes 6, I becomes 6. So, after executing these steps, then the condition checking is made and you realize that yes, actually I was initially 5 and this loop has to be executed only when I is not equal to 5. But by the time it recognizes that I is not equal to 5, it has already executed at least one iteration. So, as rightly pointed out, while loop will never execute the loop if the condition testing fails, whereas do while executes the loop at least once even if the condition test fails. So, this is the major difference between the while and do while. Third loop that we have is called as for loop. Now, in for loop, initialization, condition checking and update, it is written in one statement itself, separated by semicolon, although these options are optional. Now, how for loop executes? So, first this initialization is done only once, then it checks for the condition. If the condition is true, it enters the for loop, it executes each and every statement in the for loop, so that finally it encounters the closing bracket. When the for loop's closing bracket is encountered, the control passes here. So, it is going to update the counter and again it is going to check for the condition. As long as the condition becomes false, it is not going to exit this loop. Every time when the condition is true, it is going to enter the for loop, execute the statements within the for loop, then increment the counter, then again check for the condition, and this thing will continue. So this is your for loop. Now the 3 parameters specified in the definition of for loop, they are optional, because you can even write the for loop like this. For example, int I equal to 0. Now this is initialization. I have an option of writing it here, but I can also write it outside, so that this part here is blank. Then so I is 10, then I less than 100. If I is less than 100, only then you need to enter the loop. So 10 is definitely less than 100, so it comes here. It prints the value of I, and notice that in the update section also this is blank, because the updation is happening, I am doing it within the loop blocks. So this initialization will happen only once, so that is I equal to 10, then 10 is less than 100, true, it comes here, it prints I, that is 10, and then I becomes 11. Then again the condition checking is made, 11 is less than 100, so it will print 11, then I becomes 12. Again condition checking is made, and this will continue. So in this example, initialization and update part, I am doing it elsewhere, one outside the loop, one inside the body of the loop, so that I did not mention it here. Another way of doing it is, you may also not specify any of the parameters inside the for loop. You may only specify semicolons. Whereas initialization I am doing outside the loop before it starts, and then condition checking as well as the incrementation or updation, it happens within the body of the loop. So this is also another way. Okay. Now we shall explore some additional features of your for loop which are there in Java. The first most important feature is, more than one variable initialization or updation is possible in for loop. For example, you see int p equal to 1, comma int q equal to 0. So here I am initializing not one but 2 variables, one is p, one is q. Then you have semicolon. So you can actually initialize as many number of parameters in the initialization part. Only thing is that they should be separated with comma, and once all initialization is over, there should be a semicolon. Then condition checking is done, and a semicolon, and then updation also. Here you can update a single parameter, or you can update multiple parameters. Here I am updating 2 parameters, they should be separated with comma. So this is one feature. Another feature is that compound relations and test can be considered. For example, here you can see the compound condition checking is done. I less than 20 and sum is less than 10. It can even become more complex. So very compound relations and tests can be considered for condition checking. It is allowed by for loops. And third, expressions can be used in assignment statements. So here I had just initialized the variables with certain values, but you can actually have expressions. For example, x equal to m plus n divided by 2. This kind of expressions are also possible in the initialization statements. Also, the updation always need not be I plus plus and I minus minus. Updation can be something like this also, where x equal to the original value of x divided by 2. This kind of updation is also valid in for loops. And most important thing is, this for loops can be nested. Okay, that is, within one for loop can have another for loop and so on. Okay. Now before we go to the next concept, let us see one small example of a for loop. Okay. So I will be just declaring an array of some cities. So I will say string cities, and I am declaring say 5 cities of type string. Okay. And I will be using for loop to insert different cities. Okay. And I will be also using the same for loop for displaying the cities. Okay. Now since I need to enter from the keyboard, I will be using import statement java.util.scanner. So I will be using scanner class. Okay. And then I will use for loop for say int I equal to 0, I less than cities dot length We have already seen length parameter used with arrays. So, I less than cities dot length I plus plus, and within this I will be entering the values for cities. So, I will say cities of I equal to, I have to also declare a scanner object which I forgot. So, I can declare it here, scanner sc equal to new scanner system.in. Yes, and now I can use this scanner object. So, I can say sc dot next, fine. So, this way for every iteration, see initially I is 0, 0 is less than cities dot length because I have 5 cities. So, it will come here, and at ith position in cities of I, whatever I type from the keyboard will be entered, and this will go on. Then I will be incremented, again it will check whether the I value is less than 0, and it will go on, right. So, then I will say enter 5 cities, okay, and then I will say system.out.println the cities are \n, and again I will be using a for loop to print the cities, int j equal to 0, okay, j less than cities dot length j plus plus, and I will be simply printing the city name. So, I will say system dot out dot println, okay, and I will say cities are, okay, cities are I have already written. I will just print the name of the city. So, that is city of j, semicolon. So, it is going to print the cities. Yes. So, it is asking me to enter 5 cities. So, I say Ponda, I will say Ponda, Margaon, I will say Panji, Mapsa, okay, and then I will also say something like Valpoe, and the cities are, it just prints the cities. So, this is the basic use of your for loop, okay. So, in for loop you see you have initialization being done, okay, then condition checking, and then incrementation. So, it will go on executing the loop till the condition becomes false, and every time it comes out of the iteration it is going to update the index and then check the condition, and it will go on, right. So, this is a simple example of a for loop. Now, as we have seen, Java also allows you to have an enhanced version of for loop, that is called as for each for loop. Now, assume that at this point cities, okay, the string array called as cities, they have already the values of 5 cities. Now, I have to only print the cities. So, you do not have to go with a normal for loop, you can use an enhanced version of for loop, that is called as for each loop. The syntax is for data type, identifier name, colon, expression, and you can print the statements, okay. So, I will, instead of writing this, I can just say for. Now, this particular array is a string array. So every index position element will be a string. So I first declare a variable called as city. This variable will be a general representative of each city that is written within the, or that is stored within the array. Okay. So string city, in which arrays? Cities. For, so I read it like this: for each string city in the cities array, I just print each city. Okay, and I run the program. Enter 5 cities, say ABC, XYZ, PQR, and you get the cities. So what is happening here is, this is basically called as for each loop. So what happens is, whenever we talk about arrays, okay, now in this case we have our string array, right? So let's say this is the array. Now every index position, at every index position you will have one particular string. So when I write for string city, okay, in the array's name is cities. So for each variable called as city of type string in cities, okay, what I have done is I have printed what? City variable. So there is no incrementation required, there is no update required. So what it does is, when you write this code, first this city variable stores the index position 0th string, whatever is the string at index position 0, that is stored in city variable. Okay. So in the first iteration, after printing the first city, automatically without you incrementing, okay, next the index is updated, it goes to the next index position, and the city variable now stores the second city that is stored at index position 1, and then it will print that city. Then in the next iteration, automatically the index is updated to 2, and the city variable here is now storing the string that is present at index position 2, and that is being printed. So here automatic index updation happens. Okay. So this kind of loop, this is called as for each loop. This is just an extension to your normal for loop, right? Also, this is regarding for loop. Now you can also have nested for loops. Nested for loops is the one wherein you can have one loop, one for loop within another for loop. Okay. For example, I will just modify this program. Okay. Let's say I declare two variables, say row and column. I declare two variables, and then I want to print the right angle triangle. Okay. So I will say I will say right angle triangle of stars is, so I will be printing the right angle triangle of stars. Okay. Then I will use a for loop. So for now, this for loop, outer for loop is for all the rows, inner for loop will be for all the columns. So for row equal to 1, okay, row less than or equal to say 9, row plus plus, okay. So this is the body of the in outer for loop. Now inner for loop will be for column, right? So then I will say for column equal to 1. Now column less than or equal to row, and I'll say column plus plus, and this is the body of the inner for loop. Okay. Now I need to print the star over here. So I'll say system dot out dot print ln. Okay, I'll say print, not print ln, and I will print star. Okay. Now what will happen is, initially it starts with the outer row equal to 1. Is 1 less than equal to 9? Yes. So since this condition is satisfied, it goes to the inner loop. Column is also equal to 1. Is column less than equal to row? Row is 1. 1 is not less than 1, but 1 is equal to 1, so true. So it is going to print star. Okay. It is going to print star at 1 comma 1. Then unless and until this inner loop is not exited, it will not go to the outer loop. Then it comes here, column is incremented by 1, so column becomes 2, and now it checks, is 2 less than or equal to 1, which is row's value is 1? No. So then it will come out of this for loop, and it is going to the next outer for loop, correct? Now notice that what we have done is we have printed a star in one row. Now in the second row, when you want to print, what is required is the control should go to the next line. So once you exit from this inner loop, okay, just before exiting the outer loop, you need to have a println statement. I'll say system dot out dot println, and you will just print a blank. Okay. So with this I will execute, and let's see if there is some change that is required. Okay. So the right angle triangle is, so first time what happened, you can even debug this and see, we have put a breakpoint here. Okay. So first time you can see the variables, you have row equal to 1, then 1 is less than or equal to 9, that is true, then column is equal to 1, so row is 1, column is 1, and it prints star. Now that star which is printed, okay, so I will say step into, okay, so row is 1, column is 1, so 1 star is already printed. Now column is incremented by 1, so you can see the variables here, okay, just see. Row is still 1, but column is 2. So what has happened? Inner loop, one iteration has occurred, and then column was incremented by 1. Okay, after printing star, one iteration of inner loop was over, and it came out, column incremented by 1, so column becomes 2. And now it checks, is 2 less than or equal to 1? No. So it will exit this for loop. Okay, and after exiting the for loop, now the control passes to this println line that is outside this inner for loop. Okay, so now you see, when I go into step into, what will happen is, after printing this triangle here, after printing this star over here, the remaining stars won't be printed on the same line, they will be printed on the next line. Now it comes here, outer loop, and row is incremented by 1. So when you say step into, row variable now contains 2, you see, row variable is now containing 2, and column variable is so far not used. So then after going into the for loop here, okay, just see, column is 1 and 1 is less than or equal to 2, that is true. So it is now going to print star. Okay, so you can see another star getting printed here, and after printing star, it increments the value of column which is 1, now column will become 2. Okay, and then it is going to print another star. So you see there are 2 stars which are printed on the same row. Now when column is incremented, just see, now column is incremented, when column is incremented, column becomes 3. So row is still 2, but column is 3. So this condition checking, that is column less than equal to row, this fails. So it goes out of this inner for loop, okay, and once it comes out of inner for loop, before exiting, before incrementing this row, okay, there is one statement, that is system.out.println. So it is going to take you to the new line. Why this is done? Because two triangles are already printed. There is no triangle that has to be printed in the same row. So this is written so that the control will pass to the next line, and any further triangles will be in the next iteration will be printed on the third line, because now we are addressing row number 3. 2 rows are already done. So I again say step into, and now row takes the value 3. You can see here row takes the value 3, column is not yet executed. Now I have gone inside, column is 1, so 1 is less than 3, that is true. So it goes inside, and now it prints a star. Okay, so you can see here another star is getting printed. So as you go on, you will notice that in the second inner for loop prints 3 stars, and then it goes to the next line. Then again outer loop, then again inner loop, it prints a star, star, star and star. Okay. So as a result, it will finally print the pattern that I have shown you. So this is the pattern that we get of stars. So this is how you can nest your for loops also. Okay. Now before I exit, I would like to show you a simple while loop demo. Now here what I am doing is, I have created a string of type string buffer, because I should be able to add anything in between the string, I should be able to append anything, I should be able to delete anything from the string and so on. So a string is a variable of type string buffer, string basically an object of class string buffer, and I have taken a character C. Now I am asking the user to enter a string. This is my try block, and the catch block is going to find out the error, catch and report the error. Now within the try block, you please see this line, system.in.read. This is another method of how you can take input from the keyboard. So what I have done is, I am checking while C equal to, okay, while C means a character C is equal to system.in.read. Now system.in.read will do what? Whatever you type from the keyboard will be taken, okay, with system.in.read. Now the thing that you type from the keyboard is basically a string, but here the variable that you have used is a character variable. So I am typecasting it to character. Okay. So in simple words, what I am doing, I am taking something from the keyboard, input from the keyboard, which is basically a string. I am typecasting it to character. Okay, that will be stored to C, and then I am checking whether what input is entered to the keyboard, is it not equal to \n, is it the end of the string, because I am talking about characters. Okay, so I am trying to design a string out of single characters, right? So have I entered \n, is it enter? No. Okay, so while there are still characters being entered from the keyboard, this means while there are still valid characters entered from the keyboard, each of such character you append it to the string variable of type string buffer. Okay. So this while loop here will do this condition checking, and when this is true, that means as long as you don't enter new line, okay, you can just add and enter whatever to the keyboard, that will be converted to character, and then that character C will be appended to string, which is of type string buffer, using append function. Okay. So this while loop will go on, and finally once \n is encountered, it will simply print the string that you have entered. Okay, let's run and see. Enter a string, suppose I enter S. So it says, because you see that after pressing S, I had pressed enter to the keyboard. So that is new line. Okay. So unless and until you don't press new line, it is going to accept. Another time I'll run this program. Now here I will be entering each character, but after these characters I will not press enter. I will not go to new line. So first character that I enter is A. Okay, this condition checking will see that the character entered is A and it is not new line. I have not pressed enter key yet. Okay, so that will be taken and that character will be appended to the string. Then without pressing enter, I enter the second character here. Okay, say B. Okay, again it will check and so on. Then third, fourth. So you can just go on entering any number of characters, even paragraphs. The moment you press enter, what will happen? Enter means \n, that is new line. Okay, so the while loop will exit and whatever data, whatever characters that have been added to the string of type string buffer will be just printed. Okay. So this is another example of loops, while loops.